Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to dive into replacing that driver's side quarter panel. Before we do that, I'm going to give you an update on the passenger side quarter panel, and I'm going to walk you through that repair on the outer wheelhouse. Let's dig in. Okay, last step of this passenger side quarter panel replacement, we've got to fix the outer wheelhouse and the rot that we had here at the bottom lip. Now, you'll recall from a previous episode that we've got the extension and the trunk welded together nicely with rosette welds along the seam. Everything lines up really nice here. We're happy with how these two pieces are mated together. We also know that from a previous episode, I told you that we're going to do a mini tub on this thing. So I don't want to do any welding to the inner wheelhouse and to the trunk pan here because this is all going to slide over. So that's fine. But as I look at this, and as I compare it to the driver's side, in fact, you'll be able to see here, I think just even on the camera, that these two pieces are sitting lower than they should be. It needs to come up. And you can tell that because the edge of this extension should be very close to matching up or being parallel with the lip on this outer wheelhouse. The driver's side is already positioned in the right way. There, you can see that although the extension is not welded in yet, you can see that the trunk pan itself is sitting up much higher than this side. So we are going to use the floor jack and we're going to raise this up to the right level. And then I'm going to throw a tack right here. I don't want to weld this, remember, because of the mini tub, but let's throw a tack right here so that we've got this leveled in the right position, and then we can do our repair. Okay, I've got a piece of wood here, and I'm going to be careful to get the pressure on the seam between the trunk pan and the extension. And we're going to raise that up. You can see actually right here that how far down this is. This needs to come up, well, 3/8 of an inch, if not a little bit more. Let's get this going here. Actually, I'm going to move that over just a little bit. I want to put a vice grip on here, and I want the room to do that. Once I get this in the position, there. Okay, so watch that. We're going to lift that right up. There, that's probably where it needs to be. Check the other side. Yeah, that's maybe just a little more. There. Now we've got this matching up here, and we can bring our new piece down and around to match this lip. I think everything will look really good here, and we've got the right match here on the outer, even though that's going to slide over. We just know that it's positioned at the right height. Let me show you the inside. Okay, now you can see that these are flush, much better alignment than we had before. So I'm happy with that. I don't think I need to go any further or want to go any further. This looks really good. Now I'm going to put vice grips on this lip to this lip. We're going to get a tack right here, and then we'll be in position to go ahead and make our piece here. Need gas, Tom. All right, I'm going to let the jack off, and hopefully that piece will stay where it is. Okay, there. Now we can go ahead and think about making that piece. Okay, with the extension of the trunk pan brought up to the right level, with it being tacked in here and secured, and then with the outer wheelhouse pinched together with the remaining lip to the extension lip, you can see that when that draws it together, all we need is a straight piece that matches this contour. It creates this lip on the outer wheelhouse. Weld that in, grind it off. I think we're going to be good to go. Okay, so we want to make our piece here now, and I want to get this bend matched, both top and bottom. So we're going to get this in here so we can draw this out. We know it needs to be about that long, that long. So this is up. That's what we need. More I'll go about here and up. That's the bottom of our piece. Okay, I've got a piece of 18 gauge here, and this is the piece that we just marked out. Slide that over there. There, so that's in and up. So we are going to need a similar bend at the top, and I want to give myself close to an inch of extra material. We'll have to trim later. That's something like that. A little bit more. Again, we'll trim to fit, but I want to get it reasonably close. I think if I cut that, that should give me, let me just double check that. I want to actually make sure I'm going to have enough there. Okay, we're going to need more than I had planned, I think, on this edge in particular. So we're going to recreate this. This is going to be closer to fit. This is going to be way too high, but we'll deal with that later. No real issue there. That should give us all the material we need with trim to fit. Okay, I think that's going to be our lip piece. So I'll get this cut out and I'll pick you up there. Okay, I've got this piece cut out now. It's slipped in there. It matches the contour here and along that whole lip perfectly. So I'm really happy with how that's come out. Now we need to match up the top side. Okay, on the top side, we knew we'd have too much. Now what we can do is come in here and decide how much we're going to trim off. The contour basically runs like this. And I think that's what we're going to want to do is cut on the outside, this side of that black line. And I think that's going to give us the lip we need. We'll be able to bring this close, do our welding, and grind that off and make it look like it never happened. We will do a cut and butt here so we can get a nice edge on this side and that side. I don't think we'll need to do a cut and butt on this lip here. We'll check that once we get that piece cut to fit and go from there. Okay, I've got that piece cut and I slid it in there to check the fitment, and you can see that matches up here nice, follows the contour of the extension, matches up here. So that looks nice as a new lip. Now let's check the other side. Okay, on this side, not perfect, but I think manageable. You can see that right here, I've got a little less material than I'd like. Now, this wheelhouse will push out or in, I guess, depending how you look at it, to match up closer. So that gap will close slightly. And what's nice about that gap is I'm pretty confident in the metal that I've got here to weld to. And I think that's going to give me, when I push this out, the gap that I need to create more or less a cut and butt type finish here. And so over here though, I've got an overlap that I need to cut now. I think I want to get this out. I'm going to trace that and I'm going to cut that out so that I can push this in all the way and do a real nice weld in here. We'll grind it and it'll be flush. It'll look great. And then over here as well on both ends, we'll use the cutoff wheel from the inside of the wheel well, and that will give us our flush fit here. And on the outside, or I guess on the inside of the wheelhouse, the wheel well there, we'll do our welding and grinding, and I think that's gonna do what we need to do. So let's get started with that. Okay, I just want to trace this line here, and I'm going to make that cut. Okay, I've got that piece now in here, and I've went ahead and cut both this side here and this side over there, as well as just trim that edge there. And now we can do a flush butt weld along that entire piece. It's sitting properly here, it's sitting properly on that side. I did go ahead and put 3 drill holes in there so that we can rosette weld this together and make sure that it's really good and strong to the drop down extension. And I've also got it braced up here right now with that screwdriver, which is now aligning the outer wheelhouse in the proper location to come down and meet with that lip. Let me show you the inside. Okay, so again, that screwdriver is now pushing out the edge of this wheelhouse to match up with that new lip that we've cut and created up until about this point. And then over here, it needs to get pushed out more. So what I want to do first is get 2 or 3 tacks in here to make sure that this holds, and then we'll push out this area a little further this way, and then we'll put some tacks in there. And then we just need to weld this up, grind it, and I think we're going to be happy with the outcome. Let's get going. Okay, you can see I've got this piece now tacked in, and it's ready to weld up. And on the other side, you can see here once she's welded together, I think it's going to look great. And so if you're following the series now, hopefully it all makes sense as to why I waited till the very end of this quarter panel install to fix this rot in the outer wheelhouse. Because now I've got the extension to the trunk plan all welded together. I've got the quarter affixed to not only the wheelhouse, but to the extension, all in the right location. And as you saw at the beginning of this video, now the height of the extension and the trunk floor pan is in the right location to match. And so with that, now I'm making the piece that I need, and that's it. And so if I would have done this before, it's very likely that I would have made a piece incorrectly. Things would have fit properly when I went to match up the extension to the quarter. It would have created a problem for me. And that's why I'm doing this now. Okay, all ground down and welded up. Happy with how that's come out. A little bit of light filler work and sanding, and you'll never know that repair was done. Same on this side. Now the outer wheelhouse comes out really nice. Meets up with that new piece. It's got the good contour. It's ground down there nice. Again, some really light filler work there, not even probably just the epoxy prime and high build and sand, and that is good to go because recall that this will all be seam sealed in here, so you won't ever see that, even though it does look fine in the way it is. But I'm really happy with how that's come out, and again, we're not going to touch this we'll deal with that after we've done our mini tub. So there we go. All right, we are set. That quarter panel is welded in. There's no pinholes. The metal finish work is done. It is ready for epoxy prime, fiberglass filler, high build if we need it, some light filler work here and there. Otherwise, that quarter is good to go. I'm very happy with how it's come out. I'll show you around a little bit, starting with the door gap. We've got nice 3/16 door gap here, all the way along, all the way down this entire ledge. If you stand back a little bit, you can see that gap is perfect. I've got the ledge here lined up on here, and our body lines are matched up. Very happy with how that's come out. As I talked about before, the bottom of the door has too much of a gap right now. So later on in the process, we will slice this outer rocker, and we'll push that lip up, and we'll create a 3/16 gap in between the door and the rocker. That'll be a later phase. You can see also that if I look across the panel, you can see here that we are good and flat, very minimal body work, and you can see that the door is nicely lined up. Come down a little bit on the panel, show you down here. Same thing, lined up, just a very light amount of fiberglass filler in there, and high build is all we'll need to sand that really nice and flat. So that door, if I look down the side of the car, is perfectly in line, matched up. Very happy with how that's come out. She's good. And then, so the bottom edge there at the bottom is welded, both rosettes and a seam weld on the end. And so there is an impression right here because that's where the outer rocker dents in or curves in. And so we will have fiberglass filler in here. We won't bother letting that. At the bottom, see the two drains. Look at that. Come on. And all the rosette welds are ground flat. Bottom of that panel is good to go. I've gone in and fixed up our lips. So we've got a narrowed lip on both sides here. The width of masking tape, roughly 3/4 inch. And so that's the look that we want here for the front and back. All the welds are ground down, of course, on the wheel lip. At the top of the wheel lip, I've been more aggressive. I've gone down even further. So we have a little more tire clearance at the top here. Just a little lip here underneath. And again, that'll minimize any tire issues, rub issues that we may have later on. Along the top of the seam, every pinhole has been filled. That was a tedious process because it's, finding those pinholes and then covering them up and then to find another one, and it can be a bit frustrating and exhausting, but all the pinholes are gone. There's nothing left in this panel. So we go down here. I've finished up now all along here. I've got the proper edge here. We've got this all ground down, and so we will do light filler work to bring this out and match that up with the original piece right here. That will look beautiful once that's fillered out. And over here, all ground down, and you can see that I've got the extension piece from the tail pan, the tail panel tie-in for the frame rails out to the extension there. So previous episode, you saw me make those pieces, so I went ahead and welded those all in, so that's good. And you've seen inside here that we are good to go. One thing I still have to do, minor, eventually, is just ground down these rosettes. I don't really want to keep those in there, so we'll get rid of those rosette humps there. And yeah, one of the nice things that maybe you picked up on, I didn't mention earlier, but by going high up on the panel with my butt weld, looking inside the trunk, you'd have to look way up. In fact, still can't see it, right? You'd have to get your head right in there in the trunk to see the seam for the new panel and the old panel. So when the trunk's all finished and painted, open the trunk, it'll look fantastic in here. No seams exposed. It will be beautiful. So there we go. Oh, one thing I want to show you here is that you may know on the dusters, we've got leaded seams all the way up here. I propane some of this out and just tack this together. We'll have to come in here later, get all of that lead out, weld it solid, fiberglass it up, and that's fiberglass filler it up. That's how we'll do that. There's another one here. There's a few spots on the duster back, and we've got to just take that lead out, make sure it's all cleaned, there's no rust, and fill it in with fiberglass filler. So there you go. That is the passenger side quarter panel done and ready for bodywork. So we're going to follow the same process on the driver's side that we did for the passenger side. We'll do our cut and butt right along this edge here, all the way back. Same exact process on this panel that we did on the passenger side. So I'm going to start by getting things taped off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, next up, we're going to get all of these spot welds all along the wheelhouse here drilled out. You've seen me do it before. I'll do a 1/8 pilot hole and then the spot weld cutter all along this lip. And then when that's done, we'll come in here with the air chisel and peel all of that lip off. And I'll also do down here to take the last part of this old quarter off. If I can, I'll reuse this. It will save me from having to recreate that piece. If I can't reuse it, then like the passenger side, I'll make a new one. But if I can reuse it, I will. And the other thing that I've done here is taken off all of that undercoating from the factory. It's a big job, but it's all off now, and happy with how that's come out. I mean, you can just see how great shape the car is. So that had to come off because, well, it's all going to get painted, but importantly, it needs to come off to make sure that I can do my welding here to the outer wheelhouse, and then eventually we'll do our mini tub. So this is all going to get, all those spot welds that get cut out, and that is going to get pushed all the way back into that frame rail. So needed to get the undercoating all off. It's off the other side as well, so there isn't much undercoating left on the car now, which is great. All right, let's get busy on this outer wheelhouse. All right, got these prepped. 1/8 drill bit pilot hole, and then the spot weld cutter. So I'm going to use the air chisel and see if we can save this piece. If we can't, that's fine, but If we can, great. Save us some time later. Well, I've got that piece off, but I think it's too far gone to try and save. There's just too many repairs to do to it. So, and it's got certain surface rust, as you can see there. So we'll make a new one. No big deal, but we'll keep this around for measurement later so we know exactly where to put our two drains, but we're not going to reuse that. All right, wanted to give you an update. I've been working away at cleaning everything up. I've got everything wire wheeled now, and I just finished putting in the rust fix on there. So all of that's treated. Now we're ready to start working on some of the metal repairs. But before I do that, let me show you what's going on. All right, you can see just from back here how much better that looks. That purple color is just the rust fix on clean steel. Where you see it going dark and black, that's where there's still some rust left on that I wasn't able to get with the wire wheel. But you can see just how much better it is in here and all the way up inside. So way better. This is now treated. Recall that once this is all finished up in here, you can see inside here as well. All treated. I went as far as I could up all the way, even inside the rear part of the quarter here. All that's good. So what I was going to say is this will, like the other side, get scuffed, and then we will do epoxy prime over all of this as well, except the edges that we're going to weld. So this is treated. It should not have to worry about rust for a very, very long time. Down here, I did go ahead and get the rest of the old quarter off. You can see I've got a similar edge that I did on the passenger side. So that's ready to receive the new quarter. Got to go ahead and weld these holes up where the spot welds were. And I've also prepped the lip back here. I did hammer and dolly this out, so it's ready to receive the cut and butt from the new quarter. This is all cleaned up, so the new quarter will come in and lay here. We'll do a seam weld right there. This is all cleaned up, ready to go. So, as I said, we are ready to move on to metalwork. So I'm going to start with filling in some of these holes here, and I'm going to focus on this lip, which really mainly is cleaning up and filling all of these little holes and imperfections. You can see I've got a little piece right here that I've got to fix, and so for that I've got this cut out. That'll get welded in there and then ground flat. That's the only place there. And then for the major metal work, we've got to make this outer wheel lip that comes down here. You saw me do that on the passenger side. Pretty straightforward. And then underneath, we've got to get under and put a piece here. Cut that out and repair it. And similar over here, we're going to cut a piece like that. We'll have a bend here. A little weak metal right there, you can see. So we're going to go up a little higher and cut that all out. Take a moment to clean inside the rocker where we can, and then we'll weld up that with a new piece. So I'll pick you back up when I'm ready to work on these major metal repairs here, but I'm going to go ahead and get some of the lips all cleaned up, and I'll pick you up there. All right, update on where we're at. I've got this wheel lip now all welded solid all along. No pinholes. Had to put a couple of patches in. It's all good and solid. Happy with how that's come out. And over here on the back of the outer wheelhouse, this is all repaired. There were some holes that I had to weld solid and then ground flat. Put a new piece in right here. It was too far gone. So that's in. And happy with how that's going to made up with that extension. I think that'll work out really well. I've got the final coat of rust fix on all of the inside here. It's looking great and ready for epoxy prime. So next step is just to finish up this lower section right down here. And that's where I'll pick you up next. Okay, it's time to start tackling the repairs we've got here. To get things started, I've got a paper template, which you can see will go roughly like that. And so I'm going to cut this out of steel. We'll get a bend on it, and then we'll put it up here, make sure we're happy with it. We'll trace it, we'll cut all this out, and then we'll butt weld that in there. And the same thing over here. You can see we've got a nice hole there that we need to repair. So same idea, paper template. You've seen me do this a few times, several times. In fact, that's the idea. We'll get that cut out and bent just like that. And then we'll trace and we'll cut out and weld that up, grind it off. And then for this area here, I think I'm going to try something different this time. You saw me use the shrinker stretcher and make this piece as one on the other side. What I think I'm going to try this time around is I'm going to make it now, so there is less rot here, so it's a smaller piece, and that's what's got me thinking, you know what, I'll bet I can make this in 3 pieces very easily. And I'm going to start with that piece right there. I'm going to get that cut out. We'll get that tacked in here and right there, because I know that it has to come to the edge here. And once that's tacked in, we can make this side, and we can make the lip over here, which has a curve in it, but we can cut that curve and weld it solid. And yeah, I think that's what we'll try on this side. So I'm gonna go get these pieces cut out of steel, and I'll meet you back in a bit. Okay, I've got these pieces cut out. Here's the first one. It's gonna go roughly like that, and you probably can't see that very well, but roughly like that. You can see right here that I've got some correction to do. Once I get this tacked in, I'll put a slice here and bring this down. The reason why it doesn't match there is because this area here moves in slightly to account for the quarter coming down here, spot welds, and then the lead seam. So just a bit of hammer and cut-off wheel work there, and I can make that match up really nice there. And then over here, got this piece cut out as well. It will go in there just like that. And then over here, I've got this piece cut out as well. So it's gonna go tack in just like that. A little bit of trimming. And then once that's tacked, we'll work on this side, and we'll work on the wheel well lip. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is one by one, put these up, trace them out with my paint pen, and get them cut. Once you trace it, and then cut it out with the cutoff wheel. So I'll have an opening here, and then we'll put this in and we'll do our tacks to get it in place. I'll pick you up there. All right, I got the holes cut out, and I've got those pieces just set in there for now with the magnets. Pretty happy with the fitment. You know that over here I'm gonna do a slice. I'll push this in, get it flush, push that in, get it flush, slice it again, and then weld up that seam in. It'll be beautiful. Over here, good to go as well. Just need to get tacking and weld her up. So I'm going to go ahead and weld those up and pick you up when I've got them done. Okay, before I weld the things up here, I wanted to show you, this is what I meant. Got a slice through here, push this in, got the tacks in, did another slice to make more space, and then push this up, put a tack in there. Now I can weld this all up, and it has the contour on both sides that this original piece had. Everywhere else it's flat and flush. It just needs to get welded up. And over here, same thing, all flush and weld, ready for weld, I mean. And I've got this piece tacked in as well. So we'll come back to this. We'll make our piece over here that'll go the distance here, and we'll make a small piece here, weld it all up, and I think this is going to be good to go. All right, I got these two pieces welded in and ground down. That was a bit of a hassle. You can see I haven't ground it down fully flush. I started to run into some softer metal around the edges there, and in fact, right here I blew through and had to fill that with weld, and then grind that down. Just a couple spots that are a little soft in here, so not really happy with how this has turned out, but it is solid. I've checked for pinholes, and it's flush. The new quarter will lay nicely on there. And this piece welded up a little nicer. You can see there, it's all ground flat and ready. And so now we can begin to work on that piece and this piece here. You can see I've already made a template here that we'll use to cut out a piece of steel, and I've made a template for this as well. So I'm going to cut those two pieces out, and then we'll come back, grind them to fit, and weld her up. Okay guys, I made up two paper templates that gave me this triangle piece and this piece right here. That's gonna go like that. So I'm gonna get these welded in, and I think that's gonna give me the shape and everything I need. Yeah, I think that's gonna work out well. We'll trim the outer edge here to fit because it's a bit wide right now, but we'll do that after it's all welded in. All right, got both sides, both pieces welded in, ground down, and yeah, I'm really happy with how that came out. I think that's going to be great. Will match up well with that new quarter panel. It's good and solid. As always, check for pinholes along all the welds, including the side piece here. Did fix up a couple and re-ground down. Nice. So there we go. All the repairs are complete, and we are ready to start fitting up that new quarter panel. Off camera, what I will do, as I said before, is scuff this all up now, and I will epoxy prime all inside of here except for the surfaces that we will be welding to. I'll do weld through primer on those. I'll do that off camera and have it ready for the next step. Well guys, as you can probably tell by my face, it's been a long day in the garage, but happy with what we've got done here. Everything's ready for an epoxy prime, and now we can start moving on to getting that quarter panel cut to fit and ready to go. Really looking forward to that. Before we wrap up, I want to say a special thanks and shout out to my sister Donna. I celebrated a birthday recently, and I want to show you what she gave me for my birthday. Check this out. Check that out. Isn't that cool? A 1970 Duster, Garage Force Restos. Wicked. Thanks, Donna. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Until then, cheers.